Hi everyone, thank you for tuning into my channel at La Femme Looks. This is my easy eyebrow tutorial for beginners, just some general do's and don'ts for those that are just starting out. So let's jump into it. So the items that you'll need to achieve your new brow look is your foundation brush, your eyebrow pencil, dual eyebrow brush, and your concealer. Now, your eyebrow pencil, you're gonna want to go with a color that matches your brow or your skin tone, a color that looks natural. As well as with your concealer, go with a color that looks as close to natural to your skin color as possible. The colors that I'm using for my eyebrow pencil is in the color Cocoa, and the color that I'm using for my concealer is in the color Toast. Now, these items are good for beginners because they were purchased at my local Walgreens and they were all under $10 combined. So I would encourage any beginner to start off with these to learn how to perfect your craft. And once again, they're also super affordable, so if a color doesn't match, you can always go back, get a different brow pencil, and it won't break the bank. So as you can see here, I'm giving you an image of my brows. They're clean, nothing on my face, no foundation. My brows are very thin. I have some spots that are thinner than others, so we're just gonna work to make our brows look as full as possible using our natural line. So now what I'm doing, I'm just drawing a line on the lower part of my brow to see where I'm going to stop with the end of my brow line. I'm taking my pencil and holding it up to the end of my eye and bringing it up to the brow bone because that tells me where my brow needs to stop. I don't want to have a long dramatic line, so I'm taking that pencil to tell me, hey, this is the stopping point. For me, that just looks a little more natural. I have seen those with brow lines that passes the brow bone. If you like the dramatic look and it looks well on you and you're confident with it, go for it. But for me, it just does not work. So after I figured out where I'm going to stop, once again, I'm just going back with my pencil and I'm filling in. Now I'm filling in at the top and in the middle of my brow just to make it look full and more tapered. So as you can see, this is a process that I definitely like to take my time on. I don't like to rush through my brows. I rush through anything else except that. I like to take my time on my brows because most of the time if I'm rushing, it's definitely going to reflect in my work. My lines are not going to be as crisp. My arch is not going to be as tapered and defined. So I just like to take time on my brows. Now I'm going to begin working on my inner brow. As you can see, I'm taking my pencil and holding it up to the edge of my right nostril and lining it up with the brow. This is going to tell me how far I'm going to take my inner brow out. Once again, I do this because I don't want to take it out too far and I don't want to have it too short. So after I've done that, I'm just going to continue to fill in. I'm going to use light stroking motions going upward to give the inner brow the illusion of hair. So after I've done that, I'm going to come in with my spoolie and I'm going to place it on the inner brow and use an upward motion to give the inner brow a softer look. This once again helps with the illusion of hair, and it also helps when we go in to use our concealer. It just makes your eyebrows look softer, more natural. So I'm going to continue to use a spoolie until I have my desired look, which is ultimately just a natural soft look. So after I've used my spoolie, I always like to go back with my pencil and fill in any areas that I feel needs to be retouched or filled in. After I've done that, I'm going to take my spoolie and go back to the inner brow and use an outward stroking motion. This is just, once again, going to give you the look of a natural brow. And I can tell you that with brows, it's definitely going to take practice and consistency. So I would encourage any beginner starting out, just practice when you're at home, when you're not going anywhere, when you're just sitting around. It's going to help you get better. It's going to teach you what looks you like to go with for your brows and what looks you don't want to go with. Now I'm going to go over to my left brow and I'm going to do some don'ts on this side, some things that you as a beginner should definitely avoid. It will help you with having a more natural brow. First of all, you can see that I am outlining my brow with a black pencil. Now black for me is definitely a little too harsh as far as for my skin tone. If it works for you, great, go for it, sis. But for me, it just doesn't. Black is definitely too hard of a look on me, and it's definitely not the natural color of my brows. My brows are naturally brown. So in addition to that, I also outline my brows in a square type shape, more so than them being circular, as you can see. This once again makes your brows just look super dramatic. It makes you look angry. So if you can avoid that, then try to avoid that. Practice trying to avoid that. Don't outline your brows using a square box. In addition to that, you may have noticed that I took my outer line way farther down than my brow bone. This is also going to make your brows look super dramatic. And the only way that you can know where you're going to stop is just to start practicing. Once again, practice is going to make this process perfect. It's going to help you perfect the craft. So here you can see the difference in my left and my right brow, how one looks a little more softer, how the other looks harsher. So now we're going to begin with our concealer. And as you can see, this concealer that I'm using on my left brow is much lighter than my skin tone. Now this is not a hard no for me because oftentimes I do use a lighter concealer. But for the sake of this being a beginner's tutorial, I'm going to say no to the lighter concealer. I'm going to say try and find one that best matches your skin tone. In addition to this, you can see how I'm using an excessive amount of concealer on my eyebrow brush. Try to avoid using a lot. I know sometimes we think that more is best, but in the case of your eyebrows, starting out as a beginner, less is best. Work with less and then build up to using more. When you use a lot of concealer, it oftentimes gets messy if you don't know how to control it as well. And then oftentimes we fail to blend it out properly. So just use less and then build up to using more as needed. I'm now going to go in on the right brow using my concealer in the color Toast that is close to my skin tone. I'm only going to place a little bit on the edge of my eyebrow brush. This is going to help me control the amount of concealer that I'm placing on. And I'm starting out on the bottom section of my brow, just using a slow, controlled stroking motion to give that brow a more defined look, a more arched look, and just a cleaner, crisp look. So I'm going to continue to do that until the concealer is smoothing out. And then I'm going to go at the top to the top of my brow and do the same thing. Slow, steady, from left to right, stroking motions of my brush to give my brows that more defined, clean, crisp look. I'm not trying to change the shape of my brow. I'm just trying to make it look more defined. And as you can see here, I oftentimes go back and forth from top to bottom. It's just whatever works for you. So as a beginner, another valuable tip that helped me starting out was learning how to enhance my brows on my weaker side versus the side that I felt most comfortable with. I'm right-handed, so I always have felt comfortable doing things on that right side versus the left side. So starting out, I practiced more on that left side to just make the craft better. So as you can see, as I was concealing, I did somewhat mess up my lines of the inner brow. So here you can just see me going back with my pencil to make sure I'm fixing that spot that I took out as I was concealing. Now I'm taking my foundation brush in an attempt to blend out the concealer that I use on the top and bottom portion of my brow. This is just to help my makeup lay down smoother. Once again, gives you a more natural effect. And just blending out, blend, blend, blend. So as you can see, once I've completed, I always just take a look to see if there's any spots that I missed, if there's any areas that are not as defined as they should be. And here you can see that I am gonna continue to try and fix this inner brow that I messed up as I was concealing, and that's perfectly fine. Just once again, as you do that, take your time, don't rush, and it's gonna come out. It's gonna come out good. Here you can see I'm now going to go in with my foundation brush to try and blend out the left side, but the left side is a lost cause. There's just way too much product on that left side, and it's possible to blend it out, but it would take a lot. So always with your concealer, start out with as less as possible and then just build up to more. Once again, I would like to reiterate how practicing your brows is going to make your craft perfect. So I encourage you that at any point in the day that you have free, just sit down and practice on your brows, see what works for you, what doesn't. If you have any questions or comments, please inbox me. I would love to chat. I hope this tutorial helped you, and thank you for watching. Be blessed.